All right, we live? There we go. Now we are live. All right, let me set these notifications. We're going to get right into this. Let's get it. There we go. Okay, we live. We are live. All right, I'm sending out these notifications and we're going to talk about it. All right, what's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We are finally here after a very long awaited time. We are here to discuss NBA MVP. What's up, Theo? What's up, LA Faithful? Yes, I am alive. Yes. Yes, I am here. So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, I'm pretty sure we have all woken up to the news that your 2022 NBA MVP has gone to none other than Denver Nuggets superstar Nikola Jokic. What is good, everybody? What is good, everybody? Welcome in today. I know I am extremely late, but hey, better late than never. Better late than never. But we got to talk about it, folks. We got the MVP. And ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot of opinions on it. And it's my turn to give my opinion today. But before we do all of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you guys a lot of things I've seen today, a lot of things I've heard, ask for your guys' opinion. We going to talk about everything today, baby. Because listen, it's we here, baby. It's the MVP. If y'all were in my live stream last night, y'all seen y'all seen me asking when are they gonna announce this, and they finally did. I woke up, everyone woke up to the news, and we here to talk about it, man. We here to talk about it. So, before we get into today's discussion, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be covering every single game of the Sixers and Heat series, except for the next game. The next game of the Heat and Sixers series, I might not be here for. It's not official yet, but I may have something to do on that day, but we'll definitely be here for game 6. We'll definitely be here for game 6. But game 5 is up in the air right now. For game 5 is definitely up in the air when it comes to me being here for that. But let's get it, baby. First off, I already got Corrupt's answer. But for the rest of you, who do you think deserved this award? Obviously, we have Embiid, we have Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo was also a candidate. But who do you guys think? Who do you guys think deserved the award or whatever? What's up, young Stingray? Yes, sir. We are on the MVP talk today. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let get it. Let go. But what do you guys think? Corrupt saying Jokic deserved it. Theo, Isaiah, what do y'all think? And then I'll give you guys my opinion. We'll go off of other people's opinions because we got a lot of strong opinions from the sports world. It's not just me and you giving our opinions. I got a lot of strong opinions. And it's also some narratives that I don't like on both sides as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got the MVP award. So I'll give my opinion now here. And I kind of talked to Corrupt in the chat about this a little bit. As much as you guys may think, and I am a 76ers fan, I am not I am not that mad about this. Now obviously the Sixers fan in me, I would be lying to you if I didn't say I wanted Embiid to win this award because I felt like the level of basketball he was playing, there was not a lot of other guys that were playing at the same level or higher. But one of those guys who were playing at the same level, or you can even debate higher, um, is Nikola Jokic, and he was a candidate up there for a reason. Won the MVP last year, is now a back-to-back MVP candidate, which That is a good thing to have on your resume when you look back at his career years down the line. But I'm not mad at this. When you look at Jokic, the guy's the best passing big man of all time. Dude can still score at a high level, averaged about 27 points per game on amazing efficiency. Um, I've obviously Embiid led the league in scoring. That's one thing people are going off of is Embiid's scoring numbers, and I see a lot of Sixers fans saying well Embiid led the league in scoring, and that is a big case for Embiid. He led the league in scoring the first time a center has done that since Shaquille O'Neal, and so. But you also have Jokic's narrative that he did all these things without Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, carried the Nuggets team and stuff like that. I can understand both narratives. Now, obviously, you know, in this point of view, obviously, you get the little bit of biasness in me, but every time everyone asks me, what was my award predictions? Obviously, I chose Embiid as my MVP this season. And like I said, rather you guys think I'm biased or not, you can make a case for both guys. But we got some narratives, and some things I want to share with you guys because we got a lot to break down when it comes to this award than just the two guys or the three guys that were in contention for it. So I'm gonna play you guys this clip I heard from good old Nick Wright. So I'm gonna play y'all this clip and we're gonna talk about this right here. Oh, there we go.
This is now one less thing that I need to worry about or care about. I took my time to do research, study, care about league MVP for 70 years of NBA history. And now it's just a thing. It's like, okay, it's Conn Smythe trophy. Like, yeah, whatever. Once upon a time, this really mattered, right? Guys who have won it back to back you're going to know some of these names. It's Wilt, it's Russell, it's Kareem, it's Moses, it's Bird, it's Magic, it's Michael, it's Duncan, it's Giannis, it's LeBron, it's Steph, and then there's Steve Nash and Nikola Jokic. But it wasn't just basketball that was true. Jim Brown, Joe Montana, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. The only people who won back-to-back MVPs in football. Antoine used to be reserved for the all-time best of the best, the greatest of the greats, plus Steve Nash. Now it's reserved for the all-time best of the best, the greatest of the greats, plus Steve Nash and Nikola Jokic.
So I'm going to pause this right here if you guys don't understand what he's saying. Basically what Nick Wright is saying here is that, and before I even get into what he's saying about Jokic, Nick Wright is saying here that Steve Nash is not deserving of his MVPs, and now he's implying that Jokic is in that Steve Nash category where Steve Nash believes if you're a back-to-back MVP, if you're a guy who is 2 MVPs back-to-back, you have to be an all-time great. You have to be the best of the best at your craft. And he's implying that Nikola Jokic is not an all-time great or won't be an all-time great. He's not the best of the best at what he does. So that narrative right there really ticked off Nuggets fans. But let's see what else he says.
Difficult, Antoine. I know it's a regular season award, but I was told by the people who voted for Jokic that he had a better defensive season this year than Embiid or Giannis.
Which was false. Obviously, Embiid and Giannis are miles. Well, I'll say Embiid and Giannis are tiers above Jokic in defense, and that's not disrespectful to Jokic's defense. Giannis and Embiid are just better. That's just what it is. But let's continue.
Now, Embiid and Giannis are still playing, so we get to watch them. Does he look like he has more of an impact on defense than them? I was told by the folks that vote on this award that he and Luka are in different stratospheres. Now, Luka happens to still be playing, so we get to see it. Does it look like he has more of an impact on the game than Luka Doncic? No, of course not. But he wins this award 2 years.
So Nick Wright says that Nikola Jokic does not have the same impact or as good as impact of Luka Doncic. And that is where I kind of have to disagree. Because when you're Jokic as a 7-foot big man who can put up triple-doubles at the same rate as a guard, don't disrespect the Luka Doncic, but Jokic is definitely at least at the same level as production and as value as Luka Doncic, so I do have to disagree with that. But let's continue.
In a row. And 2 years in a row, his team is at home when the award is actually announced. So good job, voters. I hope the VORP gods reward you at the pearly gates, because the real-life NBA watchers will not.
So Nick Wright goes on to say that basically Jokic is not a real MVP. He gets his regular season award, and he basically says the standards of the MVP was changed for Jokic when everyone else who's won MVP and everyone else who he thought deserved it this season had to work harder or whatever the case may be. Basically, what Nick Wright is saying, Jokic is basically the worst MVP of all time and the worst back-to-back MVP of all time. And rather you agree with that or not, that is kind of ignorant to Nikola Jokic, because I mean, you can make an argument that Embiid or Giannis could have won the MVP this year. You could make the argument that Embiid should have won the MVP last year. But to discredit Jokic in that way it is kind of weird, if I'm being honest. It is really kind of weird, but you know, and it's sports at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to people that much, but I mean, the fact that he went on that big of a rant saying the MVP award doesn't matter anymore to him, that he now does, the MVP award doesn't hold value. It's not a valuable award in the league anymore because of how they gave it to Jokic when obviously he thought it should have been Embiid or Giannis, whatever. That is kind of disrespectful to Jokic because he did put in the necessary, accomplishments. He did do some great things in the regular season that, got him the award. So that's one thing right there. But what's up, Raya? What's up, Raya? He says, I actually came here because I have some takes. All right, well, drop them. Drop them. I'm here for it all. I'm here for it. Look, Devin Booker was a top 5 MVP candidate this year. Obviously, I don't think much people thought he deserved to win it over Giannis and beating Jokic. But look, man, I'm here for all it takes. That's what we here talking about today. Young Siri says he deserves the MVP. He thinks Embiid deserved it. And I mean, I would agree, but like I said, I understand why Jokic won the award. But now I'm gonna read you guys certain things here that I've seen on social media, because this is where it gets a little toxic. So let's see what we got here. Hold on, before we get to that, Theo has a comment. He says, MG, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 50. You're thinking a number between 1 and 50. Just for the sake of today's live stream, I'm going to go with number 21 because that is the number that Embiid wears. But I'm obviously probably wrong, but whatever. So we have a lot of people saying Joel Embiid has been robbed over Twitter. Now, here's the thing about robberies or snubs for MVP. Yes, I got it right. See, bro, I'm a legend. But robberies is like when one guy clearly won, is not really a case for the other guy, and the other guy still won it. Embiid did not get necessarily robbed here. I think if you can make a strong enough case for Nikola Jokic, if Embiid did win this award, you can still make a strong case for why Jokic should have won it. And like I said, I feel like people misuse the term robbery when it comes to sports because their opinion and their take doesn't get proven right by voters. Like I said, the definition of robbery is when the other guy clearly wins it, or the other guy clearly deserves it. Embiid, yes, while I think he deserved it, I don't think it was like he clearly deserved it over Jokic, where like 100% Joel Embiid should have been a winner. It wasn't like a Tyler Hero thing, right? Where if Tyler Hero didn't win 6 Man of the Year, that's a robbery because no one else was better coming off the bench than Tyler Hero. If Monty Williams didn't win Coach of the Year, that is a snub because Monty Williams did more than enough to deserve Coach of the Year, right? So that's Jordan Poole not being named even a top 3 candidate for most improved player. That is a robbery, or more like a snub. That's more of a snub. But this MVP award, or this MVP race, was pretty close And that's why it's not a robbery, because this was one of the closest MVP races we've had in the history of the game, because you had Embiid, you had Jokic, who were both at the same position, playing center, playing elite basketball. You had Embiid being the first center in NBA history since Shaq to win a scoring title. You had Jokic, who was, but who basically over the last 2 seasons became the first center to put up triple doubles at such a high rate that he did. You've had Jokic, who's also the first center to lead his team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, leading his team in all of those statistical categories in total points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, and averages per game in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. So both centers were put up record breaking numbers this season. Both centers played well. The only big gap in these guys' game, or the only gap in these guys' game that I always say, is that Jokic is the better passer, and that is not really a debate. And Embiid is the better defender. I don't really think that's a debate. While Jokic defense has gotten better, I do think Embiid's still clearly the better defender over Nikola Jokic. So I don't think this was a robbery, because like I said, if Embiid doesn't have a 100%, like, he dominates Jokic for his case dominates Jokic case for MVP. It's not like Embiid got robbed, but obviously, since that's what a lot of people are saying, I'm like, I'm gonna put this in a thumbnail because I want to see what everyone else thinks. But Araya did drop her opinion in the chat, so we're gonna read her comment right here. She says, first, congrats to Jokic, but I think they didn't give it to Embiid because he had Harden, Maxey, who's had decent games, and it affected Embiid. Meanwhile, Jokic carried his team to the playoffs and won only one game. So I felt like they looked more into what I said above. And here's the thing. Here's another narrative I do, and I'm about to really favor Embiid in this point. Not in the whole conversation, but this point is where I will favor Embiid here today. Is that, look, we always talk about Jokic not having Jamal Murray and not having Michael Porter Jr. this season. And while that is very tough to deal with, there has been other stars who's put up great seasons without great players. LeBron James in 2019, second best player was Matthew Dellavedova, still had a historical season and made the finals, and he didn't win MVP that year. So I don't really, while I'm not willing to sit here and scream about it or cry about it, I don't like the narrative that, oh, this guy had bad teammates, when if that is the case, LeBron had an amazing season in 2019 with when Kyrie Irving left and Kevin Love wasn't, I believe he was injured in 2019, and Dellavedova, was his second best player that season, and still carried them to the finals. So when we talk about LeBron winning MVP, or when we talk about Jokic winning MVP, and everyone says, "Oh, look what he had. Look at the teams he had to deal with." There's been superstars that's had to deal with bad teams before, so I don't really like that narrative, because if you are a superstar, you should be able to rise your level of play, and you should still be a playoff, or at least have your team in some kind of playoff contention, even if your second best player is injured. And people don't talk about it. Obviously, it wasn't to the extent of Jokic, but Embiid was missing Ben Simmons until February, which was 3 months ago. So the first 4 to 5 months of the NBA season, Embiid also did not have his second best player. But like I said, I just don't like the narrative, because there's multiple examples of stars having great seasons without their second best player, or with guys being injured. That's what stars are supposed to do. They rise to the occasion. That is why you're a superstar, and that's why Jokic is a superstar, because he rises to the occasion. I feel like the fact that Jokic didn't have Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, it shouldn't make him any more special than what he is, because it's just, there's been many star players who's had great seasons without with injuries on their team, and without this guy and that guy. I mean, you can literally say this year with LeBron James. LeBron James averaged 30 points per game this year, was the second leading scorer in points per game behind Embiid, with basically Russell Westbrook being washed and Anthony Davis not playing. So, I mean, you can literally take this season, for example. So that's that. But let's get to some more comments. Harden has been robbed in 2019. That's another thing I heard today when I was on Twitter Spaces. Was People's comparing this MVP and Jokic winning back-to-back MVPs to other guys. And I think Harden's name did get brought up. Excuse me, but Joel Embiid is a legitimate MVP in my book, says Robert. Um, and like I said, that's fine, man, and that's fine. Like I said, I obviously, it might come from an emotional and a Sixers fan standpoint. I would have gave him the MVP, but who am I? I'm just a Sixers fan. So I can't say that. No matter if I'm being biased or not, I'm not gonna be able to say that on social media without being called biased. So we're not even gonna go into that. And but look, if you got Embiid as your MVP, I mean, like I said, I can't disagree. If you have Jokic as it, I mean, I understand your point as well. But let's see what's up, B Hub. Jokic said, but Jokic shown a lot of things that really surprised and shocked us this season that Embiid yet needs to pick up. Um, I mean, what specifically? What specifically? If you're talking about passing, Embiid's just never gonna pick up the level of Jokic's passing. That's just that. But what exactly are you talking about when he says Jokic shocked us and Embiid hasn't picked it up? Because other than passing, I mean, Embiid can legitimately every other skill set when it comes to basketball. Embiid has a conversation and has and he's close or better than Jokic in other aspects of the game. But but that narrative, the missing players narrative, is kind of stupid. But whatever. Another narrative we have around this MVP is Jokic's team lost in the playoffs. A lot of Sixers fans are saying, how is your MVP a guy who lost in the first round of the playoffs this year, got swept last year out of the playoffs? How is this your MVP? I feel like some Sixers fans, and this is where I'm not defending Embiid in any case. This is where I'm actually calling out Sixers fans. Do y'all forget it's a regular season award? Like, I don't get how, in any aspect, Sixers fans are out here saying, "Oh, well, your MVP got swept out of the playoffs. Your MVP only won one playoff game this year. This is the NBA's MVP." Wow, this award is just given to anybody nowadays. Where that's not necessarily true. The MVP is a regular season award. It's not just given out to anyone, and you expect the Warriors, who are about to make the conference finals, basically, and that sucks because Ja Morant is injured. But even before this, I thought the Warriors were going to run away with the series, even if Ja Morant was playing. The Warriors are about to make it to the conference finals, so I don't blame Jokic's team losing in the first round to a team who's about to make the Western Conference Finals here in a few days. I don't like that narrative, and Sixers fans that are watching this, Sixers fans that have used that narrative, we got to stop it because we can't use Jokic's playoff or Jokic's team and the Nuggets playoff failures against Jokic for MVP when it's clearly a regular season award. But let's get to some more comments. Footballer says, I had Embiid as MVP. Originally, people made a lot of valuable points towards Jokic, so now I'm split with my decision. Both deserved it either way. Exactly. Robert says, you're not an MVP if you're a good passer. Yeah, no, obviously you have to be good at multiple other things than just being a passer. But Jokic being a great passer as a center is why a lot of people are like surprised. Because obviously, centers are not known for being guys who can put up 10 assist games. Obviously, Jokic does that, so that's why he's, he caught the league by storm with doing that. Um, you know, and he's actually one of the best passers in the league with being a 7-footer, and that's why, he that's why that's part of the reason why he won the award. Jokic can't play defense, says Karam. And Jokic's defense has gotten better, but obviously it's not the same level as Embiid or as Giannis. And Jokic's defense shouldn't even be. I mean, I guess if you're comparing him to these players, he should be held by the standard of playing Embiid and Giannis level defense. But realistically, we all know what Jokic is defensively. We could probably just stop holding him to the standard of him having to play defense like Embiid, like Giannis, like Anthony Davis when he's healthy, because let's be honest, it's when it comes to defense in NBA, there's Rudy Gobert, Giannis, all those guys. There's Embiid, Bam Adebayo. Then there's the guys like Jokic and Vucevic and Ayton, their level deep. Like, there's levels to defense, and obviously, I'm not gonna hold Jokic to that level because he's just. I'm not holding him to those standards because obviously he's just not at that level defensively, and that's why That's why a lot of people, including myself, would have Embiid as the MVP and would take Embiid over Jokic just because the defense you get from guys like him and, like I said, Giannis and Gobert, it's not, you won't find that. You won't find that with Jokic. If he tries, he's fine. Yeah, sometimes he does lack effort defensively. Victor says Joel definitely got robbed. They haven't said it's 100% that Ja isn't playing. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully he does somehow. Joel put up more boards this season, in my opinion. Um, I don't know. I don't know what their total rebounds is or their rebounds per game. I think Jokic averages like 12 and Beach averages like 11 or 13. Whatever. I don't know. But like I said, both had historic seasons. I know Embiid averaged 30, 11, and 4, 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. I believe Jokic averaged 27, 13, and 8. But the stats clearly support Embiid's case for MVP. Robert, yes and no. The stats, I wouldn't say clearly supports MVP case, but some statistics do. Embiid led the league in 40-point, 10-rebound games or 40-point double-doubles. Embiid led the league this past season or this season. Embiid led the league in 40-point double-doubles this year. Obviously, Embiid's that's kind of like his thing. When Embiid's at his best, he puts up 40 and 10 on any team. He put up 40 and 10 against the Cavs, 40 and 10 against Charlotte, like twice this year, 40 and 10 against Washington, put up 50 against Orlando, put up 40 and 10 against Milwaukee. He does it against good teams, but whatever. But it is some other stats that favor Jokic, like the advanced stats, like the PER. They support Nikola Jokic. The turnover ratio supports Jokic. So a lot of the advanced statistics support Jokic, but obviously the scoring numbers support Embiid. The scoring, the double-double numbers support Embiid, but the triple-double numbers support Jokic. So, and your point, Robert, that the stats clearly support Embiid in this case, I don't think it's clear because there are stats where Embiid is just leagues over Jokic, and there's the same way the other way where it's statistics that Jokic are leagues over Embiid. Jokic just have a lot of those advanced statistics, which people hate. A lot of people, especially a lot of older generation people, hate advanced statistics. I'm not a big fan of advanced statistics, but they do. It is important to know them because they do tell you about some point of the game. But you know, but another narrative I want to bring up when we're talking about this award is the eye test, the ultimate eye test. Everyone loves the eye test. Some people believe that the NBA nowadays in sports in general is a analytical league or statistics built league. A lot of people think about that with football, baseball. Oh my God, when you talk about how baseball teams now build their franchises off of analytics, off of hitting numbers and what this guy does against a left-handed pitcher and right-handed pitcher. Analytics and advanced statistics are big in the NBA. But what people also love to talk about, a lot with the older generation of NBA fans, they like to talk about the eye test. So we're going to talk about that. What's up, Coach Dante? The eye test. What does the eye test tell you about Embiid and Jokic? Well, the eye test tells you about Embiid is that he's a two-way big man who has a jump shot, who can shoot the three ball, who has a mid-range game replicant of Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and Dirk Nowitzki. Now, that is not me saying that because I'm a supporter of Joel Embiid. You just simply turn on the film and Embiid, what the eye test shows you is that this dude's post moves is up there with the greatest post players ever. Embiid this year has replicated post moves of Dirk Nowitzki, which he's worked on in the offseason. He's replicated post moves of Kevin Durant, which he's added previous off seasons ago. He's replicated post moves of Kobe Bryant, who's one of the best post forwards of all time. So the eye test tells you that Embiid is a big defender. He gives you a lot of he's a big presence down low. When you drive and you attack Embiid, you have to think about if he's going to block the shot or not. Sometimes Embiid does get a little bit lazy defensively because he has to carry the load offensively, so he takes certain possessions off. I've noticed that a little bit as he's gotten older and he's developed more as an offensive player. But Embiid is still that guy defensively, and actually he's showing that in this series. This is his best defensive series currently against the Miami Heat that I've ever seen him play right now. shutting down Bam Adebayo and also switching on guards and locking them down as well. And then what does the eye test without looking at statistics tell you about Nikola Jokic is that he's also a big boy, 7 footer. He's very fat, and he's an unorthodox big man who has a very weird but effective footwork, has great vision for a big man, and he is, and the eye test would tell you that Jokic is a slight liability defensively because what he is asked to do from the Denver Nuggets sometimes is he's asked to not only guard the interior, but since he kind of lacks at physicality when it comes to guarding defensive physicality, and I want to say this before, Jokic doesn't like offensive physicality, but there's definitely a difference between offensive physicality and defensive physicality. And Jokic lacks defensive physicality. Sometimes he goes out, and obviously when he has to guard perimeter players, that doesn't help him out because he's not as quick as the faster guards in today's NBA. So that's what the eye test would tell you. So if we just go off of, if no one was keeping statistics, right? If statistics didn't matter in the NBA, the eye test would probably tell you that other than Jokic's court vision, Embiid is the better player. And if we went off the eye test, which a lot of people in the older generation would go off of, they would tell you that Embiid is the better player overall. So, but Raya has a comment. She says Embiid is better defensively, but Jokic is better offensively. Even big man on him, he can shoot from anywhere. He has a package. Also, Jokic's availability gives him the edge on Embiid, who is injury prone. Now, I want to get into this narrative as well, and I'm glad you brought that up, is Embiid's injury. I don't think this year's MVP, Embiid's injury for this year's MVP has nothing to do with it because Embiid played the most games of his career this season. Other than Embiid being out because of COVID, which everyone is affected by, Embiid's injury case does not matter in this conversation. In this year's MVP race, Embiid's injury doesn't matter because he's been available for every game that he, other than COVID, every game Embiid's been available, especially in the regular season. He played his most games this year. Unless he gets elbowed in the eye by Pascal Siakam, which he can't stop from Siakam from elbowing him because he's trying to play defense. But other than that, Embiid's been healthy this year, so that is not really a problem, especially when we talk about the regular season, and that's what the MVP is based off of. So, yeah, and then he says, and the thing is that Jokic, his offense and its statistics really help show that his passing ability is amazing. I mean, that's no doubt about that. But everything else offensively, I mean, Embiid's the best post player in basketball. That's not really a conversation. And no, Giannis is not a post player. He can post up. Giannis is a slasher. So before y'all like, wait, Giannis is a better post player. Post scoring is different. Giannis is a slasher. He's a guy who goes full head of steam, attacks the basket, and beating Jokic are post players who post up, shoot mid-range jumpers, post up their way to get inside. Giannis slashes his way inside. Giannis does shoot mid-range jumpers. He does post up sometimes, but not at the level of Embiid, not at the level of Jokic. Cool, we got that, because I feel like when I say Embiid's the best post player, Giannis, what about Giannis? He's dominant. He's a big man. Giannis is a slasher. Anyways, Robert says that Embiid is no slouch shooting from long range. Oh no, Embiid had his best 3-point shooting year this year. Embiid is he's become as a 7-footer, he's become an above average 3-point shooter. And you're not asking Joel Embiid, especially with James Harden now, you're not asking Joel Embiid to shoot threes, but he still does, and he still does it at a great level. I mean, he still does it at a great level. So, Embiid is no slouch from shooting from long range, and is real tough inside. Embiid is the better overall player and should be the MVP, says Robert. And when you say overall player, I mean, we're just talking about the grand scheme of the game, offensively and defensively. I mean, look, it's a debate, man. It's definitely a debate because it's so close. Post scoring is close between the two. It goes to Embiid. Shooting, 3-point shooting, as close. You would give that to Jokic. Mid-range shooting, as close. You would probably give that to Embiid because of the scoring versatility he has in the mid-range. Finishing, you give that to Embiid. That's not particularly close. Then you look at passing, you give that to Jokic, that's not particularly close. So you see that everything is close offensively except for finishing and passing, which Embiid is clearly the better finisher. Jokic is clearly the better passer. You go to defense, interior defense, that goes to Embiid. Perimeter defense, I mean, it doesn't really matter because they both don't guard the perimeter enough to really judge them anyways because they're big men. But Embiid defensively obviously is better. So you can make the argument that Embiid is the better overall player, but see, the thing is, people are going to look at Jokic and how he's gotten a little bit better defensively and his offensive skill set and automatically just go to Jokic as the better player because he has a full offensive skill set, not a full defensive skill set, but offense is what wins nowadays. And while Embiid does have a damn near full offensive skill set too, he just lacks a little bit passing wise. He's gotten better at passing. Don't get it wrong. Embiid has gotten better at passing, but he still lacks that court vision that Jokic has. Oh, so here's Rhino in the chat. Shout out to Rhino. He says DJ was robbed. DeAndre Jordan was robbed? Or DeJounte? Oh no, DeJounte Murray. Because you're a Spurs fan. I thought you was coming here and trolling and be like DeAndre Jordan, bro. Because we don't talk about DeAndre Jordan on this channel, bro. We don't even troll about DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan is DeAndre Jordan, bro. We don't like DeAndre Jordan. But nah, seriously, DeJounte Murray was robbed. You know what, DeJounte Murray? You could argue. Wait, no. No. DeJounte Murray was in the top 3 candidates for most improved player, right? DeJounte Murray was. I don't think DeJounte Murray was robbed of nothing. Obviously, you're trolling, but I was just thinking he was because he was a most improved player candidate this season. Obviously, it went to Ja Morant because he went from averaging 20 points per game to 27 or whatever. So, but what's up right now? Obviously, DeJounte Murray should have won league MVP. I mean, I don't think there's any other player better than DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray's the best three-point shooter, the best post player, the best finisher, the best slasher. DeJounte Murray is the best defensive player in the league. Come on now. Cole Anthony was robbed. No, Cole Anthony definitely is not where DeJounte Murray is. Cole Anthony is better than Steph Curry because of when you look at a guy who dunks better and wears Tim's better at dunk contests, it is definitely Cole Anthony, and that's what puts him above Steph Curry. So obviously I think we all can, what we all have gained out of this conversation is that Cole Anthony and DeJounte Murray are the top 2 MVP candidates, but I will give it to DeJounte Murray for this year's MVP because I just think he's just the best player in the league. I mean, when you think of a shooter, there's no other guy you would take than DeJounte Murray. You look at a passer, there's no other guy you take than DeJounte Murray. A defender, DeJounte Murray's way better than Gobert at paint defending. Yes, I just said it. He is. DeJounte Murray's the best player in the league. Come on now. But nah, obviously that's just... Obviously, I'm not serious. But Rhea has a question. Do you think Booker can be the MVP in the near future? I do. I do think Devin Booker. And I think next season, obviously this season isn't over yet, but as far as MVP races in the regular season is over. I think Devin Booker next season will be a top 3 MVP candidate. Now, will he win it? We'll see. It's next season. We got to see how teams finish this year in the playoffs, off-season stuff. But as Chris Paul gets older and Devin Booker starts to take over more of a playmaking role in the Suns' offense, he will be considered the MVP candidate. He will. What's up, Dante? I thought your Joel Embiid should have been the MVP of the league, but again, I see why they gave it to Nikola Jokic, the first player in the NBA history as a big man to lead his team. Yeah, and I understand that too, Dante. I think that's really where I'm at with it. I think after kind of just talking about everything, I kind of broke down the eye test, I broke down narratives from other people, broke down the statistics. I would have thought Embiid could have gotten the MVP this year, but I understand why Jokic got it, and I'm not really too mad at it at this point. Even as a diehard Sixers fan, y'all already know, go Sixers. We gonna beat the Heat, hopefully. But and yes, Dante, he did lead his team in every category of points. You're missing Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray. What does Nikola Jokic and Embiid has a better supporting cast? Yep. I actually thought Embiid was gonna win it. I did too, Rhino. But sometimes in life, you're wrong, and I guess some of us were just wrong on this one. Mr. 89, what's up, man? He says, I hope Embiid uses the snub and motivation towards the playoffs in his future of his career. That's what I'm saying, bro. Screw all of this. now that the MVP race is finally over and everyone can stop debating about it because we already know who the winner is, I hope Embiid used this MVP, I guess, loss, you could say. I hope that he uses this and we go out and win a championship this year, bro. That's what I want. Use this as motivation on why you should have been the top dog, and use this and go win the championship. Yeah, same here, Mike Nixon. I want to see the voting. I really want to see the voting. I want to see who voted for who. Now, just based off of these people having shows and saying it out of on their show, um, I know Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins both voted for it. Joel Embiid, where Bill Simmons, or no, not Bill Simmons. Oh my God, not Bill Simmons. He has a podcast. Not Ben Simmons, Bill Simmons. Some of y'all might not know him, but that's a different discussion. But I know there's some reporters or some people with votes out there who also voted for Jokic. I believe Jay Williams, who has a vote, voted for Nikolai Jokic. So, just those guys who had votes, who said who they had winning. I know that's what they say. So, from what we know, a few people, it was basically between Embiid and Jokic, and whatever. But I would like to see the full voting. Coach Dante says if you took Jokic off the Nuggets right now and just leave Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., they're not even in the Western Conference Finals to be a playoff team. I think they make the playoffs with Jamal Murray, and if they are on the team, if Jokic is not on this year's Nuggets team with no Porter Jr., no Murray, obviously they suck. But I think they can make the play-in at least. My prediction next season for top 3 MVP candidates for Rhea is Embiid 1, 2 Booker, and 3 Jokic or Giannis. Okay, Rhea. You know who my top 3 MVP candidates are gonna be different. You know what? It's gonna be the same. I'm just gonna have a different third guy. Not in any order. My 3 MVP candidates prediction for next year. I think Embiid and Jokic are gonna be candidates again. I know that it will be the third year in a row that they're both candidates. I think the third guy for the MVP will either be Devin Booker or Jason Tatum. Those two will be the third, or those two will be in the top 3. I think those two will be in the top 3. Has Charles Barkley said anything about the MVP? No, because it didn't get it. Charles Barkley, last night, he was on his show Inside the NBA in the post game on TNT. But the award didn't get announced till today, so I'm pretty sure he'll say something about it whenever he's back on TV in a few days, or today actually, right? They go back TNT. When do they go back on TV? They go back on TV today, correct? Let me see something. I'm gonna let you know when you should expect Charles Barkley to talk about this. Let's see. Yeah, no, he'll definitely talk about it tonight then, because they're on TNT today. So Charles Barkley has not said anything, but he'll probably say something tonight. Same with Shaq. I want to see what Shaq says, because if y'all know Shaquille O'Neal, I mean, this dude is a big fan of Joel Embiid. Not that he doesn't like Jokic or nothing. He just loves Embiid. I agree with that, Dante. And I listened to this take today. I don't like using the narrative, if this guy wasn't on his team would be trash. If that guy wasn't on, if you take that guy off the Sixers or you take that guy off the Nuggets, you know why that is a bad take? The reason why you don't use that take in arguments is that, if you take him off of the Bulls, if you take DeRozan off the Bulls, they'd be trash. If you take Embiid off the Sixers, they'd be trash. Don't use that take for star players, because every team builds their team around star players. So obviously, if you take the star player around it, they're going to be trash, because you literally built the team for the star player to succeed. So that's why I don't like using that debate. If you take this guy off this team, obviously they'd be trash. Obviously, if you take Michael Jordan off the Bulls, they don't win a championship because they built the team around Michael Jordan. Obviously, if you take LeBron James off of the Lakers don't win the championship in the bubble because they built the team around LeBron James. Obviously, if you take Embiid off the Sixers, they'd be worse because the team's built around Joel Embiid. That's why I don't like using that narrative, because if you take every star player, if you take every team's best player off their team, obviously they're going to be significantly worse because you build the team around the best player for a reason. That's part of building a championship franchise. Mr. 89 says, from a respectful Sixers fan at least aside of yourself, congrats on your back-to-back MVP, Nikola Jokic. I agree. Congratulations to Jokic. I'm glad centers are finally getting recognition. It's been mostly guards winning these MVPs. I'm happy for Embiid, Jokic, and Giannis. And I think that's before I end the live stream here. We've been live for 44 minutes. I plan to go live for an hour. So we're right on track and right on time with everything. Um, I think really where I want to finally end this whole conversation and end this live stream at is we could all kind of be happy in a way if you're a fan of basketball. If you're just a Sixers fan and you just support your team and you don't watch any other team in the league, you just watch the Sixers, and then you only watch the rest of the NBA when you're in the playoffs. So you're just a casual Sixers fan, basically. Obviously, you're not happy. But as a basketball fan, I am happy about what this MVP race was this season because, first off, your top three MVP candidates were big men, and big men was a breed of power forward in the center position was something that was considered dead or dying a few years ago, especially when the Steph Currys came up in the league, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillards, all those big guards just took the lead by storm. The center position was considered dead or a dying breed. Same with the power forward position. You know, you had 6'8" and 6'7" players playing center, which you still have sometimes in certain lineups. You had the Houston Rockets in basically from 2017 to 2020 when they traded, or 2020 when they traded James Harden, had them running small ball lineups. Like the center position and the power forward position, basically the era of big men is being carried by the top three MVP candidates this season, and I just love to see that every MVP candidate this year is a big man because my favorite position, especially over the years, has become the center position. And I love researching the center position. I love researching Wilt, Kareem, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell, I already said Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, Yao Ming, all those guys. Same with the power forward position. So the fact that all of our candidates are big men, I love to see that. And then another reason, if you're a diehard NBA fan, you should be happy, is because the league is changing in the sense where you can be from any country you want and come into this NBA and you will have support and you will have a fair shot. Because let's be honest, in in this world and society nowadays, like in the NFL, let's take the NFL for example. And I know it's an American sport, but let's just take the NFL for example, right? There is no really international player in the NFL that is dominating the league. You have some NFL players like I'm really trying to think. Like you have Christian Okoye, Hall of Fame running back for the Chiefs, who was born in Africa, who took over the league for years at the running back position. That's a rare thing to happen in that league. So when you're in this NBA league and you see international players coming over here, getting a fair shot as if you were an American player, getting the same love as if you were an American player, getting the same treatment from the media as if you were an American player, the same treatment, the same love, all of the above. The fact that the international players are able to come in here and have a fair shot at the NBA, it's just great. It's a good look on the NBA as a company. It's a great look on Adam Silver. This is such a diverse league nowadays. No matter who you are, what you are, where you're from, you can come in and just play basketball and do what you love and come and make a legacy for yourself. I love that about the NBA, and this is why the NBA. I love the NFL. I love football. Let me change this. I love football, the sport, as much as I love basketball, the sport. I actually might love football a little bit more, but as company-wise and as a professional sport, I love the NBA a little bit more than the NFL. And it's not even because the sport itself, it's because of how the business of the NBA is ran and how we are at this point in the NBA where you can be anyone, you can be anything, and you can come into the NBA and succeed. So I think that's where I'm going to end off this conversation here. It's been great talking with y'all, man. I want to do this more often where I just come here and just talk ball or talk football or whatever or talk sports, and we just all in here chilling and having a conversation, man. I'm going to do this a little bit more often. It seems that you guys enjoyed that. Hey, hit the like button if you did enjoy it. I may not be able to cover tomorrow's Sixers and Heat game. I'm going to try to. I can't keep any promises. But other than tomorrow's game, I'll cover the rest of the Sixers playoffs until they get eliminated. Even if I can't live stream tomorrow's game, I will still make a video or do something like this about it where I do a post-game talk or something just so I can have something out there about game 5. But I'll be covering the rest of this series against the Sixers and Heat in some way, shape, or form. Y'all don't got to worry about that. I'll be covering all the way up until the Sixers get eliminated. And then when they get eliminated, we'll cover other basketball games and series throughout the playoffs until we got an NBA champion. So, on that note, I'm out, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Rhea, for coming in here. Appreciate you, Robert, Coach Dante, who was in the chat. All these other guys, man. Mike Nixon. We have Rhino. We had my guy, Mr. 89. We had Karam, Victor, Footballer, B-Hub, Isaiah, Theo, Young Stingray, Nathaniel, Corrupts. All of you guys, man. All you guys who came in, showed support, listened into the stream. And if you didn't type in the chat, shout out to you too. If I wasn't able to see you here in tonight's stream, if you were just listening, enjoying the conversation, shout out to you. You see me again in the next few days. It was great talking ball with y'all boys. And if you watched it on the replay, shout out to you as well. I'm out now. Until next time, you've been talking sports with MG Nas, and I'm out. Peace.